You felt it? That heavy weight in your chest when you're around certain people. The way their words sting deeper than they should. The way their energy drains you, even when you've done nothing to provoke it. Toxic people, they seem to find their way into your life, don't they? You try to keep your distance, but somehow they still manage to cause chaos. You think you've learned how to handle them, but no matter what you do, they always find a way to keep you off balance. But what if I told you there's one powerful shift, one simple thing you can do that will completely change how these people affect you? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll have the key to protecting your peace, no matter who tries to drag you into their drama. Watch this video till the end, and remember to like and subscribe for more life-changing insights. You know the feeling? There's something off, but you can't put your finger on it. The person enters your life. Maybe they seem charming, maybe they seem supportive, but every time you're around them, something shifts in your gut. It's like a quiet storm in your chest that you can't explain. You feel drained, unsettled, and confused, but you keep telling yourself it's just you. You push it aside, thinking it's your own issue, your own paranoia. But deep down, you know something's not right. Toxic people don't walk around with labels on their foreheads. They don't announce, "Hey, I'm here to destroy your peace, tear you down, and take everything you have to give." No. They wear a mask, and it's so convincing. They hide behind charm, behind flattery, behind acts of kindness, because they know how to manipulate your perception. They get close, they smile, they appear to care, and before you know it, they've woven themselves into your life, making you question everything. But the truth is, they don't care about you. They care about what you give them, what you can do for them. They'll take your energy, your time, your trust, until there's nothing left to give. They don't ask for permission to enter your world. They simply push their way in, and once they do, they slowly start to take over. You've been there, haven't you? That sinking feeling in your chest when you realize that someone you trusted, someone you thought had your best interests at heart, has actually been feeding off your energy. It's subtle at first. Maybe it's a small comment, a little remark, something that doesn't sit right but you brush off. Or maybe it's the way they make you doubt yourself, the way they twist your words and actions, making you feel like you're the one who's wrong, the one who's always overreacting. It's not always loud or dramatic. It's the quiet manipulation that wears you down over time. So how do you recognize it? How do you spot someone who's draining you without you even realizing it? It's about paying attention to the small signs, the ones that don't seem like a big deal at first, but add up over time. It's how they make you feel after spending time with them. Do you feel lighter, more energized and confident? Or do you feel heavy, anxious, and full of self-doubt? Toxic people know how to chip away at your sense of self without you even realizing it. They know how to make you feel small, and they do it with a smile. The first step in recognizing toxicity is understanding that it's not always about what they say, it's about how they make you feel. They don't need to shout at you or belittle you directly. They do it through manipulation, through passive-aggressive comments, through making you feel guilty for things you shouldn't even feel guilty about. They feed off your insecurity, your need for approval, and your willingness to put others before yourself. And when you start to realize this, when you start to see the cracks in the facade, that's when you begin to understand what's really happening. Toxic people rely on you not trusting yourself. They rely on you questioning your own instincts, and they prey on your desire to be liked, accepted, and loved. But here's the shift. Once you recognize these signs, once you see the mask they've been wearing, it's impossible to ignore. And once you stop ignoring it, you'll stop allowing it. You don't have to let anyone take your energy, your peace, or your sense of self. You don't owe anyone your emotional well-being. You don't owe anyone the space in your life to continue draining you, even if they've been in your life for a long time. Recognizing toxicity isn't about blaming others. It's about taking responsibility for your own life. It's about realizing that you don't have to tolerate behavior that makes you feel less than, that leaves you questioning yourself, that takes more than it gives. And when you finally see the truth for what it is, you can make a choice. You can decide that you're no longer going to let someone wear a mask to gain access to your soul. You can choose to protect your energy, to safeguard your peace, and to cut out what doesn't serve you. It's not always easy. It's not always clear at first. But once you start recognizing the signs, once you start trusting your instincts and seeing the patterns, you'll find that toxic people become easier to spot. And when you spot them, you can choose to walk away. You don't have to stay in situations or relationships that leave you feeling empty. You can choose to protect yourself, to take your power back, and to create space for people who truly care about your growth, your well-being, and your happiness. You've felt it before, haven't you? That creeping sense of doubt, the subtle way someone twists your thoughts, making you question everything, including yourself. 1 minute, you feel confident and in control, and the next, you're second-guessing every decision you've ever made. The words they say aren't always harsh, but the impact they leave, it's like a shadow that grows darker over time, leaving you unsure, unsettled, and exhausted. That is the power of subtle manipulation. Toxic people don't need to raise their voices or make grand gestures to control you. They're masters at the small, quiet moments that leave you questioning your worth. They know exactly what to say to make you feel guilty, even when you haven't done anything wrong. They know how to twist your kindness into a weakness, how to exploit your compassion for their own gain. They don't need to yell or threaten. They just need to plant seeds of doubt and watch them grow into self-doubt, insecurity, and confusion. It starts innocently enough. They ask for small favors, and you do them because you want to help. Then they ask for more, until you're giving so much of yourself, so much of your time and energy that you don't even recognize who you've become. They make you feel like you're not doing enough, like you're falling short, and suddenly you're running on empty, trying to please someone who will never be satisfied. They'll use guilt like a weapon. I thought you were my friend. I thought you cared about me. And just like that, you are left questioning whether you truly care, even though you know deep down that you've done nothing wrong. The guilt grows, the pressure builds, and before you know it, you're trapped in a cycle where their needs always come first. You lose yourself in the process, and yet when you look at them, they seem untouched by the chaos they've weaved in your life. It's manipulation, the art of making you feel like you owe them, making you question your actions, your feelings, even your reality. They create a world where your decisions don't matter, where you are left bending to their will, unable to see the manipulation for what it really is. They blur the lines between right and wrong, making you feel like you're the problem, when in reality, they've been the ones pulling the strings all along. But here's the hard truth. Once you understand how they work, you no longer have to fall victim to it. Manipulation only works when you don't recognize it. Once you see it, once you understand the games they're playing, You can step out of the trap they've set for you. It's time to take back your power. When you feel that sense of guilt creeping in, stop and ask yourself, what do I owe this person? What are they really asking of me? If the answer doesn't feel right, if it feels like they're asking more than they should, more than you can give, then you're dealing with manipulation. And that's when you need to set boundaries. That's when you need to say no. And it doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a person who values their own well-being. Understanding the subtle manipulation isn't about blaming the other person. It's about recognizing the patterns that have been pulling you away from who you truly are. You're not weak for feeling confused or guilty. You're human. But now you can see clearly, you can start to take control of your choices, your actions, your energy. And once you break free from the grip of manipulation, you'll feel lighter, you'll feel stronger. It won't be easy, and you may slip up at times, but every moment you stand up for yourself is a victory. Every time you recognize their tactics and say no, you take back a piece of yourself. The moment you stop letting their manipulative behavior define you is the moment you start to reclaim your life. You stop questioning your worth and start trusting your instincts. You stop feeling guilty for standing up for yourself because you realize that you deserve to be treated with respect, not as someone's emotional punching bag. So let the guilt go. Let the confusion fade. You know who you are. You know what you deserve. And once you understand how they've been manipulating you, you can finally take back the power you've given away. You are stronger than their games. You are more than the story they've tried to write for you. It's one of the hardest things to do, isn't it? To set a boundary, to stand up and say, this far and no farther, because the truth is, you've been taught to be kind, to be generous, to give without expecting anything in return. But somewhere along the way, you learned to give too much. You gave pieces of yourself until you were worn thin, until you couldn't recognize who you were anymore. And the hardest part, it's not the giving, it's the taking a step back and realizing that some people will take from you until there's nothing left. You've probably been there. People pushing your limits, draining your energy, walking all over your kindness, and you felt it, that deep, gnawing exhaustion, that quiet resentment building inside you. You feel like you're constantly giving, but no one seems to care. And when you finally stand up for yourself, when you finally say enough, the guilt hits. You start questioning whether it's okay to say no, whether you're being selfish, whether they'll think you're the bad guy for wanting to protect yourself. But here's the truth. Boundaries are not selfish. Boundaries are the shield that keeps toxic people at bay. They are the wall that keeps you from being drained, from being taken advantage of. Without them, you're exposed. Without them, you become a target for everyone who wants something from you without ever giving anything back. You lose yourself in their needs, in their demands, in their chaos. And you know it's not sustainable. You know deep down that if you keep going like this, you'll burn out. You'll break. So why is it so hard to set boundaries? Why is it that when you try, you feel guilty or even afraid of what people will think? Because boundaries mean change. They mean that you have to look at your relationships differently, that you have to evaluate who is in your life and whether they are bringing you peace or taking it away. Boundaries mean you have to take ownership of your own emotional well-being. And for some of us, that's the hardest thing to do. We've been conditioned to put others first, to prioritize their happiness over our own. But at what cost? It's time to realize that setting boundaries is an act of self-care, not self-indulgence. It's an act of love, not just for yourself, but for those around you. Because when you set healthy boundaries, you stop being resentful. You stop carrying anger that doesn't belong to you. You stop being the person who says yes when every part of you is screaming no. And in doing that, you make space for the people who truly matter, for the relationships that are meant to lift you up, not drain you. You don't have to apologize for protecting your peace. You don't have to feel bad for refusing to be someone's emotional dumping ground. You don't have to explain why you can't give everything you have to someone who doesn't appreciate it. Setting boundaries is the beginning of reclaiming your power. It's the first step in taking back control over your life, your emotions, and your energy. But it's not always easy. It takes practice. It takes courage. And it's going to be uncomfortable at first. People will test your boundaries, push against them, try to make you feel guilty. And in those moments, you have to remember this. You are not responsible for how they react. You are only responsible for protecting your own well-being. You are only responsible for setting the limits that keep you healthy, whole, and at peace. The more you practice setting boundaries, the stronger you become. And eventually, you won't feel guilty for saying no. You won't feel bad for protecting yourself. You'll understand that boundaries are not about keeping people out. They're about creating space for the right people to come in. The people who respect you, who support you, who understand that your energy is valuable. And when you start setting those boundaries, you'll notice a shift. You'll feel lighter. You'll feel more in control. And most importantly, you'll feel like yourself again. Boundaries are your shield. They are the line you draw in the sand. The line that says, I'm worth more than this. I deserve respect, peace, and love. And once you start protecting that space, no one will be able to take it from you. You've said it before, haven't you? You've said yes when everything inside of you screamed no. You've done it to keep the peace, to avoid the discomfort of confrontation, to make sure others didn't feel let down or disappointed. And in that moment, it felt easier to just give in. You didn't want to deal with the consequences of standing firm. But somewhere along the way, that yes started to feel like a weight, didn't it? Slowly, it grew heavier. And with each yes you gave, a little more of your own peace, your own energy slipped away. You've lived this, I know you have. That creeping feeling of exhaustion, the nagging frustration when you realize you've spent so much of yourself on other people's needs, while your own were pushed aside. You've been the one who says yes to everything until you forget what it feels like to say so, until you forget what it feels like to protect yourself. And in the process, you lose a little more of who you really are. It's time to break that cycle. It's time to step into your power. And the key to that power, one simple word, no. It's a word that can change everything. But I know saying it isn't easy. Saying no feels like you're being selfish. It feels like you're letting people down, like you're somehow wrong for wanting to put yourself first. It's uncomfortable, isn't it? The thought of disappointing someone, the fear of being seen as difficult or uncaring. But here's the truth. Saying no is not about rejecting others. It's about protecting yourself. It's about understanding that your needs matter just as much as anyone else's. And it's about time you realize that. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve you, you say no to your own peace. You say no to your own time, your own energy, your own well-being. And you can't afford to keep doing that. You can't afford to keep giving pieces of yourself to people who take without ever considering what you're losing. When you say no, you're not pushing people away. You're setting a boundary. You're telling the world that your time, your energy, and your peace are sacred. You're reminding yourself that it's okay to put yourself first, that you deserve to honor your own limits, your own needs. And in doing that, you're reclaiming your power. It's not about being mean. It's not about being confrontational. It's about being clear, being firm, and understanding that your well-being is worth protecting. When you say no, you are saying yes to yourself. You are saying yes to your right to live a life that's true to you, free from the weight of other people's demands and expectations. And here's the shift. The more you practice saying no, the easier it becomes. And the more you say no, the stronger you'll feel. You'll begin to feel a sense of control, a sense of peace, because you'll know that your choices are yours and yours alone. You won't be dragged into situations or relationships that drain you. You'll be able to say no without guilt, without hesitation, because you'll know it's not about shutting others down. It's about lifting yourself up. It's okay to disappoint people sometimes. It's okay to let them down, as long as it's in service of your own health, your own happiness, and your own peace. Saying no is a declaration of self-respect. It's a reminder that your life is yours to live, and you get to decide how you spend your time and energy. So, take a moment. Ask yourself, what is it that you're still saying yes to that drains you? What is it that you're still holding on to because you're afraid of disappointing someone? Now think about how it would feel to say no. How would it feel to protect your peace, to stand up for yourself, to stop being everything for everyone else? You have the power to change the course of your life with that one word. No, it's a word that reclaims your energy, reclaims your life. It's time to start saying it. Letting go is never easy. It's not just the leaving that's hard. It's the space you feel when you try to walk away. The void that opens up inside you when you realize that someone who once meant so much to you no longer serves you. And even if they're still there, physically present, emotionally, you can feel the distance growing between you. It's one of the hardest battles you'll face, cutting the emotional ties that bind you to someone toxic. Because let's be real, these ties aren't just memories or shared experiences. They're deep-rooted emotions, years of connection, moments that shaped you. The person may have hurt you, they may have drained you, broken your trust, taken more than they've ever given, but still, there's something that keeps you attached. There's something inside you that tells you it's hard to walk away, even if you know it's the right thing to do. But here's the truth. You can't heal while you're still holding on to the past. You can't move forward if you keep dragging the weight of a toxic connection with you. The hardest part, it's not about cutting them off physically. That's just the surface. The real challenge is cutting the emotional ties, releasing the hold they still have on your heart. Even when they're right there, standing in front of you, you can feel their presence lingering in every part of your life. You feel their impact in the decisions you make, in the way you view yourself, in the way you carry the weight of their words long after they've left. You have to ask yourself, why do you keep holding on? Why do you keep allowing someone who has hurt you, manipulated you, or drained you to continue taking up space in your heart? I know it's not easy to admit that someone has hurt you, but you can't begin to heal if you're still emotionally tethered to someone who isn't giving you the respect, the love, or the peace you deserve. The hardest part of letting go is not always the anger or the pain you feel toward them. It's the grief. The grief over the person they once were or the person you hoped they would be. It's the hope that maybe, just maybe, they'll change, that they'll come back and be the person you need them to be. But deep down, you know that's not going to happen. You know that they can't give you what you need. They never could. And that realization hurts. It hits you harder than anything else. Because you're not just letting go of them, you're letting go of the version of them that you wanted them to be. But once you realize that this emotional attachment is what's holding you back, that's when the change begins. That's when you can start to truly release them. It's not easy, it's messy, it's painful, but in that pain, in that moment of discomfort, is where your power lies. You have the ability to choose yourself. You have the ability to cut the emotional ties and reclaim the pieces of yourself that were taken from you. Letting go doesn't mean you erase everything that was. It doesn't mean you forget the love you shared, the lessons you learned, or the moments you cherished. Letting go means acknowledging that it's time to move forward. It means accepting that the person you once needed is no longer who you need to become. And in doing that, you make room for something better, something that will lift you up, something that will honor your worth. The emotional tie doesn't dissolve overnight. It takes time. You have to actively choose to stop letting them control your thoughts, your emotions, your decisions. Every time you feel that pull, every time you feel yourself being drawn back into the orbit, you have to remind yourself why you walked away. You have to remind yourself that you are worthy of more, of peace, of respect, of love that doesn't come with strings attached, of relationships that nurture and empower you. The real breakthrough comes when you realize that cutting these ties isn't just about them, it's about you. It's about freeing yourself from the chains they've wrapped around your heart and allowing yourself to breathe again. It's about giving yourself permission to heal, to rebuild, and to become the person you were always meant to be, without the weight of their toxicity holding you down. And when you do that, when you truly let go, you'll feel something shift within you, a sense of relief, a sense of space. And in that space, you'll find yourself again. There's a noise in your life, isn't there? It's constant. It's the chaos, the turmoil, the people who stir up confusion and drain you of the peace you so desperately need. Every day, it feels like you're fighting just to keep your head above water, just to find a moment of calm. And no matter how much you give, no matter how much you try to please, it's never enough. The chaos keeps coming. It keeps pulling you in, dragging you into their storm, making you question your own peace, your own worth. But here's the truth. They thrive on that chaos. Toxic people, toxic situations, they live for your discomfort. They feed off your confusion, your pain, your inability to find stillness. They want to see you unravel. They want to see you lose your balance, because in your chaos, they have control. In your unrest, they find their power. But what if, just for a moment, you decided that peace was non-negotiable? What if you drew a line in the sand and said, "This is mine, and I will not let anyone take it"? You don't have to keep letting them in. You don't have to let their toxic energy infect your space, your mind, your heart. It's not easy to break free from the grip of chaos, especially when it's been a part of your life for so long. But it's possible, and it starts with one thing: you choosing peace, not as something you'll get when everything else calms down, not as something that happens when people stop bothering you, but as something you take control of in every moment. When you realize that your peace is yours to protect, you start to see things differently. You start to understand that you don't have to answer every demand, every criticism, every attack. You don't have to engage with every drama that comes your way. You start to understand that some battles aren't worth fighting, that some people aren't worth your time, and that the only person whose peace you have control over is you. And here's the real breakthrough. When you choose peace, you choose yourself. You choose your mental and emotional well-being over the chaos of others. You decide that your peace is more important than their noise. It doesn't mean you don't care about them. It doesn't mean you turn your back on those who may need you. But it means that you are no longer willing to lose yourself in the process. You are no longer willing to sacrifice your calm for someone else's storm. You might feel guilty at first, don't you? You might feel like you're being selfish for choosing peace, for stepping away from the chaos. But let me tell you this, it's not selfish, it's necessary. If you're constantly drained, constantly exhausted from giving into other people's chaos, then how can you be the person you want to be? How can you show up for others if you don't first show up for yourself? Reclaiming your peace means setting boundaries. It means refusing to accept anything that threatens your calm, whether it's toxic relationships, endless drama, or negative energy. It means learning the power of saying no, of walking away, of creating space for yourself to breathe and recharge. And it means realizing that peace isn't just something that happens when the world stops spinning. It's something you create, something you protect, something you cultivate no matter what happens around you. As you begin to protect your peace, you'll notice the change. You'll notice how much more space you have in your heart, in your mind. You'll start to feel the weight lift off your shoulders. You'll start to feel empowered, not because everything around you is perfect, but because you've taken control of the one thing you can control, your peace. And in doing so, you reclaim your power, you reclaim yourself. No one can take that from you unless you let them. Peace is a choice. And when you choose it, you choose your worth, you choose your happiness, you choose your freedom. And no matter who tries to disrupt it, no matter how loud the chaos gets, you will stand firm in your choice. You will stand firm in your peace, because you know now it's not just a luxury, it's your right. And from now on, your peace will be non-negotiable. You felt it, haven't you? That slow, draining sensation that creeps in when you're around certain people. You give so much of yourself, and yet you feel empty. It's as if the very essence of who you are is being pulled away without you even realizing it. It's not just physical exhaustion, it's deeper than that. It's emotional, it's psychological. It's a heaviness that settles in your chest, a weight that you can't shake, no matter how much you try. And the worst part, you don't even know how it started, but it's there, quietly consuming you, stealing your energy until there's nothing left. And you keep wondering, why does this keep happening? Why do you feel so drained, so tired, even after you've tried so hard to be there for everyone else? Why does it seem like the more you give, the more you lose? You've bent over backward, tried to be everything for everyone, only to realize that some people never notice. Some people never appreciate it. They don't care about your energy, your well-being, your peace. They only care about what you can give them, how much you can provide before you break. Here's the hard truth. Toxic people will always take as much as you allow them to. They'll keep draining you until there's nothing left, until they've stripped you down to a shell of who you were. And it's not their fault, it's not even about them, it's about you. It's about how much you've let them in, how much you've allowed their negativity, their chaos to become a part of your life. But what if you could stop it? What if you could protect yourself? What if you could reclaim your energy, put a stop to the drain, and finally take control of what's yours? It's possible, and it starts with recognizing your own worth. Your energy is precious. The way you feel, the way you show up, the way you move through the world, all of that is sacred. And the moment you realize that, you'll start to see the toxic patterns that have been draining you. Once you understand that, the next step is about making choices. Choices about who gets access to your energy, who you allow into your space, and who you decide to walk away from. You don't have to keep giving to people who aren't giving back. You don't have to stay in situations that suck the life out of you. You don't have to keep carrying the burden of others' negativity. It's time to draw the line. It's time to recognize that you are in control of your own energy. And that control comes from making the conscious decision to stop allowing toxic people to have power over your emotional state. It's about creating boundaries, about learning to say no when you need to, and not feeling guilty for putting yourself first. It's not selfish, it's necessary, because when you protect your energy, you protect your peace, your happiness, your future. Start surrounding yourself with the people who lift you up, the people who encourage you, who see the light in you, and remind you of your worth. These are the people who give without expecting anything in return. They don't take from you, they add to you. And the more you surround yourself with people who bring positivity, the more you'll feel your own energy shift. You'll begin to realize that the weight you've been carrying isn't yours to carry. And when you let go of the toxic people who have been draining you, you'll feel lighter, freer, and more in tune with yourself than you ever thought possible. Protecting your energy isn't just about cutting people off. It's about making a commitment to yourself. It's about recognizing that you deserve peace, you deserve love, you deserve the freedom to exist without constantly being pulled down. You don't need to apologize for wanting this. You don't need to feel bad for choosing yourself, because in the end, no one can give you what you need if they're constantly taking from you. So step into your power, take back control, protect your energy like the sacred gift it is. Because when you do, you'll realize something profound. You have everything you need to create the life you deserve. You just need to guard it. It's exhausting, isn't it? The way guilt creeps in when you finally say no, when you finally start putting yourself first. You've been taught your whole life that saying no means you're selfish, that stepping back means you don't care enough. And in the midst of all that, toxic people come in and reinforce those feelings. They know exactly how to twist your actions, how to make you question yourself, your decisions, your worth. It's not just about setting boundaries with them. It's about their ability to make you feel like you don't deserve to. And you start to wonder, am I being unreasonable? Am I too harsh? Is it really okay to stand up for myself? This isn't your fault. These feelings of guilt, this self-doubt, they've been planted in you by people who never respected your boundaries in the first place. They've conditioned you to believe that your needs, your peace are secondary, that you are somehow responsible for their happiness, their emotional well-being. They've made you feel like the problem when all you've been doing is trying to protect your own heart, your own space. But let me ask you this, why is it that everyone else's peace, everyone else's happiness takes precedence over yours? Why does their discomfort with your boundaries outweigh your right to feel safe, to feel at ease? Why should you carry the burden of their insecurities, their manipulation, their negativity? The truth is, you don't have to, and more importantly, you shouldn't. The hardest thing to face is the fact that you've been made to feel guilty for simply choosing yourself. You've been manipulated into believing that you don't have the right to make decisions for your own well-being. And it's not just draining, it's suffocating. It wears you down to the point where you start questioning everything, even your worth. But the only thing standing in your way right now is the guilt that's been holding you back. Guilt that's not yours to carry. Guilt that's been shoved onto your shoulders by people who didn't have your best interests at heart. And you've been living under the weight of it for far too long. It's time to let go. Releasing guilt isn't about justifying your actions or seeking permission from others. It's about reclaiming your right to exist on your own terms. It's about giving yourself the freedom to make choices that protect your peace, even if it means disappointing others. The guilt doesn't serve you. It only keeps you bound to a cycle of self-sacrifice and exhaustion, where you keep giving until there's nothing left for yourself. Letting go of self-doubt isn't about proving yourself to others. It's about remembering who you are. It's about knowing that you are worthy, that your needs are just as important as anyone else's, that you are enough exactly as you are. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone who can't respect your boundaries. You don't owe anyone an explanation for taking care of your mental health, for prioritizing your peace, for choosing your well-being. The moment you start to let go of that guilt, you'll feel the weight begin to lift. You'll feel the freedom that comes with choosing yourself. You'll begin to notice how much lighter your heart feels when you stop carrying the emotional burdens of others. You'll stop doubting your decisions because you'll realize that your choices are valid. You'll begin to trust yourself again. And that trust, that belief in your own worth, will be the foundation upon which you rebuild your strength. So start today. Release the guilt. Let go of the self-doubt. You are allowed to put yourself first. You are allowed to protect your peace, to say no without explanation, to walk away from things that drain you. And in doing so, you'll start to find yourself again. You'll start to feel whole, feel empowered, feel free, because once you shed that guilt and doubt, you'll realize you've always been worthy of peace, of love, and of respect. It was never about them. It was always about you. And now you're ready to step into that power.